Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Rocqi from It's So Real. And today I'm switching it up. We found an app to be able to record YouTube lives without our 1,000 subscribers. But please subscribe and help us get us there.
Yeah, so we get it official.
You know, I'm trying to get this money. But if you haven't checked out Rocky's reactions on our Instagram, please check that out. I think I've done reactions to Abba and Preach's videos and then Kevin Samuels. So definitely check those out.
That's a good one.
But there's more to come, so stay tuned. But today I will be doing a reaction to mediocre tutorials and reviews. Video, I said, there's no reason for men to get married. Did she prove me wrong? So this is where he has a guest on his show. I low-key like when he's just talking about himself and reviewing other things, but you know, that's me. So yeah, we'll start it over. It's only 11 minutes, so that'll be good. Short and sweet.
Make sure you're not cutting off your head. Because the black part at the bottom is just, you can still see it. You see how you can see?
So what's my head? Is it cutting off my head?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Thank my baby for getting me a ring light selfie stick / tripod. So I can do these reactions. And I may switch it up to the tripod midway. So we'll see how this goes. All right, you ready? I'm ready.
What up, YouTube? I am your host, Medium Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with just one more video, joined by a very special guest, Tyler. Say what up.
What's up?
Yeah, I may switch it to tripod.
Listen, Tyler and I were sitting here vibing.
I'm gonna switch it up. Baby, can you help? Thank you so much. Gonna go over here and show. Can I show Sheila?
Sure.
All right. Say hello to Sheila, everybody. This is Sheila. Say hello. Oso is learning how to play the guitar. So proud of him. Thank you, baby. Say hello.
What's up? What's up? I'm just kidding. It's not my video. It's all her. It's all her.
Thanks. So I will be creating a playlist on our YouTube channel for Rocky's reactions. Oh no, let me keep this up. So stay tuned for that or check it out. Let me see if I can do this while the camera is on. There we go. All right, changing angles a little bit. Oh, got you looking at my goodies. All right, hold up. Okay, that's better, isn't it? Thank you, baby. Let's get that Hampton shirt in the background.
A very special guest, Tyler. Say what up.
What's up?
Listen. Tyler and I were sitting here vibing. We were sitting here talking, and wanted to turn the camera on just to have like a clear.
He has a lot of light in his place. Like, I
Yeah,
really love
I
it.
love
To start some more conversation, some more dialogue. And that's the question around marriage.
What's the point of getting married? A lot of people are asking this question as of late. Like, they're not aware of benefits associated with marriage.
One, case in point. We kind of dipped into this before we even turned the camera on. Let's say you get sick, okay? Can you, like, you know, when you have a job, you got a good job, you can put down this who your spouse is. Legally, this is who you are actually. This person is taking on your last name or even not have. You don't even have to be, you can be married, don't even have to change your last name.
Yep.
Because that's a lot of
I am
paperwork,
not
y'all.
gonna have control. Let's say if I was just your girlfriend, we've been dating for 30-some plus years.
Yep.
And you got sick. Am I gonna have control over if the doctor comes and says to me,
Pull the cord on that.
this is what we need to do, can we do this? Who
So
do you
meaning
want to
that I
have that
am.
control? Who do you want to have that? You don't have a will, you don't have
So you're
something
saying,
written down.
well, why can't I just make a will?
Okay, but let's say you're in the hospital already. You had not thought about that. You have not thought about who my power of attorney may be
So
if I got sick. I mean, and this happens. The reason why I'm saying this happens, I personally have dealt with this throughout my family.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Where it's my parents, they are together, they are separated. They are not legally divorced. My dad could have had control over what happens, decisions with my mom. Luckily, she was still able to communicate that, no, I want my daughters to. And my dad, at the same time, was like, we're going to make this as a family decision, because even though we are separated, we are still a family. We still coexist and actually spend holidays and do everything
Which
together.
is honestly how it should be. Like,
intimate with each other anymore.
like y'all still family.
But that could have been
and if
left.
it's a breakdown to the point that you're not, why were you together in the first place?
Number one, yes, you can. You just have to preempt any of those situations occurring. B, you also have to understand, so when we talk about the benefits of marriage, like, yeah, you can name a benefit like that, but
okay,
that's really in 0.1%.
Okay, so healthcare is a big benefit of marriage that a lot of people talk about. For me, I saw this with the show on ABC Family, The Fosters, where it was a lesbian couple. Actually, I don't know their sexualities. It was two women, loving women, and Steph, I believe her name was a cop, and she got injured on the job. I'm looking. Oh.
That was not for you to stop.
And she got injured on the job, and because I don't think same-sex marriage was legal at that point. Jesus. Her wife couldn't be in the hospital room with her, which I think is fucking ridiculous, and I'm lying. But anyways, I'm being that fucking hospital. But yes, okay, well, I guess not if it's same-sex wasn't legal. Guess so. But and she was white and she was kind of biracial. We could be cousins. You don't know. But anyways, how you gonna tell me you need blood DNA? I'm just saying. But anyways, so that was a point for me to know that was a benefit of marriage. Just in terms of, just being there in the hospital, and she wasn't even dying. She was just like being in the room, especially like during surgery and stuff. They limit the amount of people that can come in. So, like I said, I'd be lying, but because you ain't about to stop me. But so that is one of the benefits, especially in the context of what did he introduce her? I don't know. The guest on
Tyler, I think was his name.
Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews was saying is that if it's a conversation of pulling the plug, you want to make sure the person who knows your wishes is in charge of that decision. Now, I will say, because I am polyamorous and I have thought about this because I do want another life partner, having a medical power of attorney is something that I want to do. And she was saying, like, what if you haven't thought about this? But, like, if I'm getting to a point of committed life partnership, and if I'm considering marriage, I would also consider medical power of attorney. So, like, oh, somebody's here. Or somebody's ringing the doorbell. But yeah, like, so if I'm taking that stance, I would do that regardless. Like, I'm not just going to wait till something happens. Like, the point we make that decision is like, okay, because I also want a commitment ceremony with my other partners. So, like, when we're doing all that, that's when it would be done. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I wonder if I should wait for Najee to get back. Maybe his mail. Which is also why I'm an advocate for multiple marriages. I mean, there's a lot of people within the ethically non-monogamous community who's for the elimination of marriage or providing benefits to everybody. So, multiple marriages or eliminating marriage entirely. Your choice. But yeah, because those benefits, like, why don't we have access to saying who receives the benefits over our life? Why is the government in charge of that? And why is the government in charge of restricting that too? It can only be one person, and screw you if you happen to have multiple partners. Like, So I'm an advocate for multiple marriage and therefore providing those benefits. But again, I have looked into trying to receive those benefits outside of the system that's created because we live in it. So again, power of attorney is something that I'm looking into. Living will and a will is also something I'm looking into. And like I said, at the same time that I'm trying to figure out commitment ceremonies, that's when I would be doing that. So let's see. I heard the door close. Baby? I think he's coming back. And then we will get started again. What'd you get?
Aren't you live?
Yeah.
So wait.
Because I wanted to play it, but I didn't know if you were okay with missing it.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Oh, okay, well then let me turn it on. Oh, whoop!
And of cases that you become
I have my breasts all up in the camera.
where you cannot communicate.
Is marriage the apex of commitment? No. Commitment begins before the vows. Check out the episode for It's So Real podcast, Myths of Marriage, where we ask that question. And like, true or false, does commitment begin before the vows? And yes, it does. Because if you're waiting till marriage to commit to someone, your marriage may not work out the best because you aren't practicing the vows prior to that relationship. And then you may only have those vows on that wedding day. So I'm just saying, commitment and committed life partnership exists outside of the legal structure of marriage. So what you doing?
We'll get into that long-term commitment without considering how significant of a decision that it is. This is a business decision.
Oh, I agree. My mother tells me all the time, marriage is a business deal. Be careful of who you actually decide to sign on.
It's just like, you're co-signing with somebody on a house. You're right. Like, this is a business decision.
It is. And so many people confuse it with love.
If the business case doesn't make sense, if you've done the cost-benefit analysis and the numbers are not adding up, if you look at her and you are not ultimately satisfied and happy, and there's always things that you can work on, right? There's always things that you can work on. But if there's evidence of infidelity, evidence of integrity issues, evidence of just being a piece of shit person, and you feel like you can solve that, and you at being 22 years old, you're gonna be with that same problem at 80, when there's some deep-rooted shit that needs to get worked on. Right, and you think that business is going to work out. How many best friends have you kept your entire life? How many long-term, people break up all the time and stop talking to each other. So in order for all of that to make sense and to walk in front of a lawyer and say, yes, I want to be best friends with this piece of shit for the rest of my life, and you not be 100%, even from a financial perspective, right? Like, and I know there's some dudes who comment on this channel and talk about, I don't care if she, has a corporate job or works at McDonald's, I don't give a shit. I don't feel the fuck like that. I feel like, when you consider a business decision of tying someone to you, there needs to be a consideration of what are her goals? Where is she going financially? What does that look like? What does her debt look like? What are all the, right? Like, how does she handle money? Does she still live at home?
Oh, so is definitely the saver and not the spender.
Such put her on a credit card, and right? These are all things that you need to consider because I'm telling you, they will bubble up later on.
And this is why you should talk about these things. This is why you should have these conversations prior to that legal business contract. And some people don't, which is really interesting. But some people get married very quickly. And then some people just don't have these conversations. So I don't know why. But yeah, I learned, Oso definitely learns about budgeting and investing. Like, that's his strength. Like, he's the one learning it, and then he teaches me about it. So I'm not in the dark about it. It's just I'm not the one doing the research, basically. And I think we were talking about this on the episode How to Have a Balanced Relationship, where we were talking about the roles within our relationship. So definitely check that out. That's a part of our Finding Balance series. That's actually part 5 of our Finding Balance series. So remember to check out the 4 previous episodes, okay? Hello, viewer, who I don't know who it is because I'm not notified, but hi. So I'm doing a reaction to mediocre tutorials and reviews. There's no reason for men to get married, and I'm reacting to it. So this is a part of my reaction. And thank you for joining me. For finances, yes, marriage is a business contract. And it's so interesting because I've joined a lot of marriage Facebook groups just to see the mentality that people are having, and some of them are just not healthy. But in one in particular, and it's Black folks, it's very biblical marriage oriented, to which I'm like, but marriage exists in how many other faiths? Marriage exists in just a legal realm, state realm. So can we consider history as well? It's not just love and union, it was actual business, properties, countries, marriage was an actual thing as far as that business contract. So, and what's interesting about Oso and I's partnership is that we decided to become business partners, and It's a Real Podcast is a part of that business partnership before we decided to actually, commit to life partnership. So we were already on board, and that's actually something that I wanted in a life partner. I wanted someone I could professionally build with, because to me, 1, it's a lot to do it by yourself. Okay. But 2, I just wanted to I guess instead of a friend, even though I am finding friends to professionally build with in different ways. We have the podcast, we're going to be doing our healing center together. We have our books together. We have just our professions have aligned enough for us to work together and build businesses together. And marriage is one way to combine all of those finances, right? So it's definitely a business contract. And to that point, you can have a committed life partnership outside of that business contract, outside of getting legally married. You can have a commitment ceremony without the state. God's still there, you don't have to sign paperwork. But then people are like, well, what if, monies and healthcare and stuff? And it's well, that's the understanding of what the state provides. That has nothing to do with your love, right? You can get married to your friend. Romantic love doesn't have to be in there. And the fact that people have just combined those two, and I'm like, people really need to sit down and understand systems, because I don't think they really break it down. But let's go back to the video, shall we? All right, so the next question on mediocre tutorials and reviews for this video is, do we settle for toxic relationships? I'm just going to answer for a hell no, and let's see what he has to say.
Marriage is the next biggest come up. All my boys are doing it, so I gotta do it too. Oh, my girls are doing it, so I gotta do it too. Do you look at it like that? Pure pressure.
Listen, hashtag relationship goals. There's not a hashtag singles goals.
There is. It's starting to be the traveling auntie.
Around what this shit is. Turn on the TV. Every other show is about love. Songs about love.
Very mononormative, by the way.
R&B songs, rap songs is more about twerking and shit like that.
And yes, I know I need to get better at having the video that I'm actually reacting to, so you can see it. So, hearing it.
One of the best eras of music.
Well, Jacquees says he's the king of her.
And it's in the description below as well.
Shut up. Even though I'm a fan of Jacquees, don't get it twisted. But my man, nah, you're not quite there yet. You're not quite there yet. Anyway, wait a minute, what was the question?
Do you think that in our millennial day and age, we settle? Do you think men are settling? Do you think women are settling?
I think there's a component of settling. There's a component of, I'm with this person and they make me feel comfortable and this is the best that I can ever do. That's why I purport on this channel, you are the prize. Always consider yourself the prize. Because once you start to consider yourself the prize and you start putting other people on a pedestal, you stop looking for other people's validation, you can take a real concerted effort at who you are, what you bring to the table, what your value is,
what
and how
do
you
bring
can upgrade that value. because as you upgrade that value, you have much more options available to you, right? Like, we have all of this culture that's raining down on us, telling us how to think, feel, and act. And a lot of that pressure is saying, she's good enough. Because I want all of what the culture is telling me that I want.
A lot of people want the wedding. Pause it. A lot of people want the wedding. A lot of women want the wedding.
Right.
Yeah. Let's be clear.
I'm good with that one.
So people, I think, definitely settle in terms of just they've been together for a while and it seems to be the natural order of things, or they've been together for so many years and it would be a wasted time, quote unquote, if they didn't get married, you know, or to start all over and all that stuff. Like, people settle for a variety of reasons. I also don't think people know how to choose life partners. And I don't know if we've talked about it in any of our previous episodes. Check them all out and see which ones we did. But maybe in myths of marriage, maybe how to have a balanced relationship. We've done a lot. I really don't know which episode that was in. But anyways, so what we talk about is, yes, you have to have connection, right? And that's the feelings, that's the similarities and interests and love languages and all that. But there's also compatibility. And sometimes a lot of people don't accept the incompatibilities. And like, that's the thing. You don't have to break up just because you have some incompatibilities. You just have to accept that there are them and you can't change it. And that goes into the third aspect of choosing a life partner, and that's capacity. It's like, there's a difference between someone being unwilling to meet you where you are, to meet your need, and somebody not having the capacity to give it. Like, you want it, I don't have it to give. And I don't think a lot of people take that into account when they're choosing life partners, when they're choosing significant others, spouses, all of that stuff. They just look at the love. So I definitely think I'll probably do a video on this later. Did we talk about this? I don't know. Cause there's what was it, an acronym for compatibility that a psychologist did. It's called RISES. So if you just YouTube search RISES compatibility, I'm pretty sure you'll find it. But our life coach friend, check out Daniela Smiles, or Crown Potential Life Fulfillment Coaching, came up with 2 added extra compatibility factors. So I'm not going to go into all of that now just because I'm reacting to this video. But definitely, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that way you can, and click that notification bell so you can be notified when I do make that video, and you can understand just how to consider some of the compatibility factors when choosing a life partner. But all right, let's get back to it. Next question is, are partners considered to be prizes?
I had a guy vocalize that to me one time. It was a turn off. Because it was like, why do you need to tell me every which so way that...
You don't have to say it. It's you never have to state anything. You never have to posture up because it shows your insecurities. Mm-hmm. You don't have to state it. I've dealt with this. I've gone through that in my younger years. I'm getting better at it now. But there's a feeling like you have to state what it is that you are, right? Like, you may need, if you get a promotion, you may have to state that you make a lot of money, or
he's 37.
You don't need to. What's the benefit of doing that? It makes people cringe. Like, oh, what's the point of even like bragging, being braggadocious? Mm-hmm. A dude who purports to be an alpha, right, for the sake of letting a woman know, right, it is weak. Right, it shows an insecurity. That means that you're not. Maybe you're working on it, but it shows that you're not a dude that says I am the prize. Like, in a way, like, in order to undermine
a lot of women say this.
Prize. And when I say
that's how they know they're not.
What I'm saying,
Yeah,
I'm saying I'm awesome. That doesn't degrade your awesome.
No, I agree.
But I love me.
I like to thank me for me. Yeah, thank you, Snoop.
Okay. It better not degrade you. Okay. You're too ferocious for that, though. I feel like. You're too ferocious for that.
Can you pause? Okay, so yeah, a lot of women do that. A lot of women say they got all this going on, they college educated, they got their businesses and whatnot, and a like a lot of the videos on Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews and Kevin Samuels are pointing out that's not actually what men want. All our accolades are for us. And men are like, that's cool. But what does that do for me? Because all my accolades that's getting me money is not necessarily meaning that he's getting my money. So, and I don't think that way, but a lot of women do. So yeah, are you the prize or do you like, and again, this goes, and I think we're going to do an episode on, concept Kevin Samuels talks about a lot, which is our value in the dating marketplace. And I feel like a lot of women just don't make a fair assessment. And especially like we grew up on Disney princess movies, and that just brainwashed a whole generation of women because we were thinking Prince Charming and we're just pretty and we're doing our own thing and not necessarily doing anything for the man or other person. But it's just because we're great individually, that's going to somehow automatically translate to being a great partner. You can be a good person and a bad partner. I'm just saying. All right, the next question is, why do so many marriages fail? Whew, a lot of marriages shouldn't have began. That's why.
Well, I think the respect level has changed. I don't think marriage is taken as serious. So I think if you would have asked me, when we had those conversations in the past, even a couple months ago, I remember you bringing this question up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm so for it. It actually has made me think about it differently, because I could be with a dude
She's rude.
that
You
is
say whatever you want.
cheating on me for X amount of years and months, and then be like, oh my God, you're married. I don't think that changes a person.
It doesn't. I don't know why people think they do.
Marriage changes the individual.
Ever.
I agree with you in those same problems that you have.
It is a ring, a party, and some paperwork. The fuck?
Problems that you have in marriage, if those problems are not addressed, and if that person is not actually willing to make those changes.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Humans will be humans.
They are. I know a person right now that's still cheating with somebody and they get married.
This is what it is.
So, I mean, but as a female, have I ever thought about wanting to get married and make out marriage? I said, absolutely.
Again, we're programmed and raised with this shit.
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't
I would be fake if I said that I wasn't.
I want you to be real. Listen, it is. I just got a deal on some Ciroc Summer Coolada. Listen, go get you some Ciroc Summer Coolada. Mix some Sprite in that thing.
Get your money.
Go outside and enjoy your life. That's what we're about to go do. All right?
Oh, that's it?
This has been your video.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns. Leave it down in the...
Y'all just getting all the goodies today. But I think a reason why a lot of marriages fail is, like I said, a lot of people aren't intentional in choosing their life partner, and they're not considering a lot of different factors that exist in marriage. And like one of my colleagues actually said, and she's married, she said a lot of people think of marriage as the finish line versus the starting line. And I think that's a beautiful point. And within polyamory, because there's a commitment to emotional growth and you have to grow that emotional muscle, I think a lot of monogamous married people don't think there's growth, especially emotionally, and especially within yourself in relationship to your partnership. And it's like, because, and a lot of things, a lot of people don't address the expectations they have for marriage that are different than whatever committed relationship they had prior to it. So a lot of people just aren't very reflective about what marriage means to them and how they're going to show up in their marriage, which I would definitely recommend premarital counseling with a clinically trained therapist. Okay. Not pastoral counseling. Shout out to them, but they're not clinically trained. Okay. So I would suggest premarital counseling, and it doesn't have to be if you have problems. It's, as my life partner says, preventative instead of reactive. Love you.
Love you too.
We had a discussion earlier about those two concepts. But yeah, so just do your homework on marriage and on what you want for your marriage. And again, marriage is a business contract, so you can have a committed life partnership outside of the state. And consider what that means and do a lot of reflection and homework as far as whether or not you should be committing to life partnership with someone. Okay. Any other reasons why marriages fail? Well, a lot of humanity is just now recently on this shift towards health and wellness, but you have to realize we've had generations where we weren't taught any of this shit. We weren't taught communication, effective conflict resolution, boundaries. We weren't taught any of this shit. So we're just now coming to awareness within all of this stuff. So the fact that marriages have gotten to a point where it's 50% just doesn't really surprise me, especially since because of women empowerment, women were no longer financially dependent on men, so they could get a divorce. And Kevin Samuels was actually pointing that out, that majority of people who are filing for divorce are women. Even though my dad was one who filed. But, because my parents are divorced after 35 years. So, and they shouldn't have got married to begin with. But again, different. It's just people. And also different generations. So we will see. Honestly, we probably won't see what's happening with the millennial generation in marriages until the generation after Gen Z. We're already seeing some, but it's just we're right in it. So we need some time to then reflect on the history of what's happening. But I'm excited to see how a lot of things pan out, because we are in some historic times. So we will see what the fuck ends up happening, because but yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think a lot of people are remaining single, honestly. And not even in the not legally married sense, just not in a committed relationship sense, and not even in a committed monogamous relationship sense, just single and me, myself, and I type of thing. Because relationships take work, and not everybody's committed to that, especially if you got good being by yourself. Why I need this? I'm just saying. But this was a great video. Again, I'm new to this, so if you know how to react to videos, mediocre tutorials and reviews, and put the video on the reaction, please let me know in the comments below, because I don't. But yeah, I'm excited to continue Rocqi's reactions with you. And definitely stay tuned for more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that bell for notifications so you know when it premieres, as well as our regular content. We will be releasing new videos in the coming weeks, so definitely check that out. And that's just of clips of our podcast episodes. So definitely check that out. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, it's your girl Rocqi from It's So Real. Have a beautiful day and take care of you. Peace and love.